The hospital walls were still closing in on me when my phone rang. 3 days after burying Grandma Edith, and my mother's voice came through cold as January ice. Matthew, we need to talk about the will. Not how are you holding up, or your grandmother loved you. Just business. I was 28, sitting in my Detroit apartment, staring at the funeral program with Grandma's smile looking back at me. Mom, can this wait? My throat was raw from crying. No, it cannot wait. Your father and I have discussed this with Felix, and we all agree you should transfer your inheritance to your brother. He needs it more than you do. The words hit like a physical blow. Felix. Of course. My 32-year-old brother who'd never held a job longer than 6 months, who still lived in our parents' basement, who borrowed money like it was oxygen. The same brother who hadn't even shown up to Grandma's funeral because he was too stressed. Mom, Grandma left that money to me. Specifically to me. Don't be selfish, Matthew. Family takes care of family. Felix is trying to start a business. His 5th business. I couldn't help the bitterness leaking through. What happened to the car detailing thing? Or the sneaker reselling? Or... See, this is exactly why you need to grow up. Your brother has vision. You just push papers at some insurance company. That insurance company put me through night school. That insurance company meant I didn't ask them for a dime after 18. But sure, I was the disappointing one. Growing up, I learned early that I existed in Felix's shadow. Every parent-teacher conference, every family dinner, every Christmas card somehow centered on him. He was the athlete, the charmer, the one with potential. I was Matthew, reliable, quiet, forgettable. When Felix got a C, it was the teacher's fault. When I got an A-, why wasn't it an A? Grandma Edith was different. She saw me. Really saw me. I remember being 12, sitting on her porch in tears after my father missed my spelling bee championship to watch Felix warm the bench at a basketball game. Baby, she'd said, braiding my hair with gentle fingers, some people give love conditionally. They love what you can do for them, how you make them look. That ain't real love. Real love sees you when you're ordinary and loves you anyway. She'd slipped me $20 that day. For being extraordinary at being you. Now, sitting with her lawyer's letter in my hands, I understood why she'd left me $180,000. Not Felix. Not split between us. Just me. The letter explained, Matthew has shown responsibility, character, and independence. This money is to build the future he's already working toward. Not to be given away out of guilt or family pressure. She'd known. Somehow, she'd known exactly what would happen. My phone buzzed. Dad, this time, your mother's upset. Call your brother. Fix this. Always my job to fix things. Never Felix's job to be better. They ambushed me on Sunday. I thought we were having dinner to remember Grandma, share stories, grieve together. Instead, I walked into an intervention. Mom, Dad, Felix, and, surprise, my Aunt Cheryl and Uncle Warren. All seated in the living room like a corporate board meeting, with me as the hostile takeover target. Sit down, Matthew, Dad said, pointing to the single chair facing their couch tribunal. My stomach dropped. What's going on? Felix leaned forward, wearing his concerned face, the one he used when he needed something. Bro, we're worried about you. You're making decisions based on emotions right now. Decisions? You mean accepting an inheritance that was specifically left to me? See, that attitude right there, Mom interjected, shaking her head. Grandma Edith wasn't in her right mind at the end. You know she had those spells. Don't you dare. My voice came out sharper than intended. Grandma was sharp until the last day. Sharper than all of us. Uncle Warren cleared his throat. Matthew, son, I understand you're hurting. But think about your brother's future. He's got this opportunity with a food truck business. Real investors interested. He just needs capital. $45,000, Felix cut in, his eyes pleading. That's all I need, bro. You'd still have plenty left. Think of it as an investment. When my business blows up. Like the last 4 businesses. The words escaped before I could stop them. The room went silent. Mom's face hardened into that expression I knew too well, disappointment flavored with disgust. There it is. Your true colors. You've always been jealous of your brother. Jealous. I stood up, my hands shaking. I'm jealous? Of what exactly? The fact that you paid his rent for 10 years while I worked 2 jobs through college? The fact that you bought him 3 cars that he totaled while I took the bus? The fact that he owes you $43,000 that we all pretend doesn't exist? Dad's jaw tightened. Watch your mouth, boy. I'm 28 years old, Dad. Not a boy. And I'm stating facts. Felix shot up, getting in my face. You think you're better than me? Always did. Walking around with your degree, your little apartment, acting like you're somebody special. You're nothing but a company man making 48 grand a year. The specificity of that number, my salary, stung. They'd been discussing me, dissecting my life behind my back. At least I earn my money, I said quietly. At least I don't steal from Grandma's medicine cabinet to pawn her jewelry. The air sucked out of the room. Aunt Cheryl gasped. What? Oh, you didn't tell them that part. I turned to my parents. Last year, when Grandma's pearl necklace went missing, the one Grandpa bought her in 1965, Felix took it. Sold it for $800. I found the pawn shop receipt in his car. Felix's face went from red to purple. You went through my car. You asked me to grab your phone charger. It was sitting right there in the console. That's a lie. Felix turned to our parents. He's making this up because... I have the receipt, I said calmly. I paid $900 to get it back and put it back in her jewelry box. She never knew it was gone. Mom looked like I'd slapped her. You never told us. Because I knew you'd make excuses for him. Just like you're doing right now. The family meeting deteriorated into chaos. Aunt Cheryl demanded to see the receipt. Uncle Warren suggested everyone calm down. Dad sat silent, his hands clasped so tight his knuckles went white. Mom paced, muttering about family loyalty and airing dirty laundry. Felix stood in the corner, his earlier bravado crumbling into something uglier. You self-righteous piece of... Enough. Dad's voice boomed through the house, the command he used to use when we were kids. We all froze. He stood, his 6'3" frame seeming to fill the room. Matthew, here's how this is going to work. You're going to give your brother $45,000. Not as a gift. As a loan. He'll pay you back when the business takes off. And if I don't? Dad's eyes went cold. Then you're choosing to destroy this family. You're choosing money over blood. And if that's your choice, then you're not welcome here anymore. The silence that followed was absolute. Not even the clock seemed to tick. You're cutting me off. My voice came out smaller than I wanted. Because I won't give away money that Grandma specifically left to me. Don't make this dramatic, Mom said, but her voice wavered. We're asking you to help your family. I am family. Then act like it. I looked at each of them. Aunt Cheryl avoiding my eyes. Uncle Warren studying his shoes. Felix with his arms crossed, smug satisfaction barely concealed. Mom with her martyred expression. Dad standing like a judge delivering a sentence. And I realized, I'd never been family to them. I'd been the spare. The backup. The one who'd always be there, solid and dependable and invisible, while they celebrated the golden child. Okay, I said quietly. Okay. Mom's face brightened. So you'll... I choose myself. I drove home in a daze, my hands numb on the steering wheel. The Detroit skyline blurred through tears I refused to let fall until I was safely in my apartment. My phone started ringing before I even got my coat off. Mom. Then Dad. Then Felix. Then Aunt Cheryl. I silenced it all. The apartment felt different. Quieter. Emptier. For 28 years, despite everything, I'd had a family. Dysfunctional, toxic, unfair, but mine. Now I had 4 walls, a couch from a thrift store, and $180,000 I'd never asked for. I pulled out the letter from Grandma's lawyer again, reading the personal note she'd included. Matthew, baby, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'd bet my last dollar your mama and that brother of yours are already circling like vultures. Don't you dare give them a penny. This money is yours because you earned it through character alone. You've been invisible in that family your whole life, and I want you to finally be seen. Use this to build something they can never take from you. Promise me, baby. Promise Grandma. I pressed the letter to my chest and finally let myself cry. Around midnight, my phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Barbara, Felix's girlfriend. I'm sorry about what happened. You did the right thing. He's not who they think he is. I stared at that message for a long time before responding, what do you mean? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, can we meet? There's stuff you need to know. We met at a Coney Island on 8 Mile, neutral territory. Barbara looked exhausted, her hair pulled back tight, dark circles under her eyes. She ordered coffee she didn't drink, just wrapped her hands around the cup like she needed the warmth. I shouldn't be here, she started. If Felix finds out I talked to you. Then why are you here? She met my eyes, and I saw something unexpected, fury. Because I'm tired of watching good people get destroyed while he skates by on charm and lies. For the next hour, Barbara unraveled my brother's carefully constructed facade. The food truck business? A scam. He'd already received $15,000 from 2 investors, people from church who trusted him. The money was gone, spent on a Dodge Challenger he kept at his friend's house so our parents wouldn't know. The pearl necklace wasn't the only thing, she continued, her voice dropping. Last year, he stole your dad's coin collection. Said he was getting it appraised. Sold it to a collector in Ann Arbor for $12,000. My blood ran cold. Dad's silver dollars? The ones his father left him. Felix told him he must have misplaced them during the move. Your dad blamed himself for months. Why are you telling me this? Barbara's hands trembled around the coffee cup. Because I'm pregnant. 8 weeks. And when I told Felix, you know what he said? He said to handle it because a baby would mess up his timeline. I realized I'm tied to a man who only sees people as resources. She pulled out her phone, showing me screenshots. Bank statements showing cash withdrawals totaling $32,000 over 2 years. My parents' money. Texts to various women. An email to a lawyer asking about declaring bankruptcy on purpose to clear debts. I'm leaving him, she said. But I needed you to know the truth. Your family is about to lose everything to him, and they don't even see it. 2 days after meeting Barbara, Felix showed up at my job. I was reviewing claims when security called, Matthew, there's a Felix Nguyen in the lobby demanding to see you. Says he's your brother. He's pretty agitated. My supervisor, Bessie, a stern black woman in her 50s who'd mentored me for 3 years, looked up sharply. Everything okay? Family drama. I'll handle it. But when I got to the lobby, Felix wasn't just agitated. He was unhinged. Eyes wild, sweat beading on his forehead despite the cold outside. He grabbed my arm the moment he saw me. You turned Barbara against me. She's leaving because of you. She showed me the texts. You met with her. I pulled my arm free. Don't touch me. That's my kid she's carrying. You had no right. She came to me, Felix. And from what she told me, you told her to get rid of it. His face twisted. She's lying. Everyone's lying. You've poisoned the whole family against me. Security was already moving toward us. Bessie appeared at my shoulder. Sir, you need to leave. This is between me and my brother. Not anymore. I kept my voice level, aware of my co-workers gathering to watch. You need to leave. Now. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. Felix lunged, his fist connecting with my jaw before security could intervene. Pain exploded across my face as I stumbled backward. Then security had him, 2 guards dragging him toward the exit while he screamed obscenities. Bessie helped me to my feet, her face furious. "We're calling the police. That was assault." "Bessie, he's my brother." "I don't care if he's the Pope. That was assault in the workplace." The police came. Reports were filed. Bessie insisted the company would press charges too. And just like that, my brother had a record. The voicemails started that night. 23 of them. Mom's voice cycling through every manipulation tactic she'd perfected over 30 years. Message 1, "Matthew, how could you have your own brother arrested? Do you know what this does to our family's reputation?" Message 7, "Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. If something happens to him, it's on you." Message 12, "I didn't raise you to be this vindictive. I don't even recognize you anymore." Message 18, "Grandma Edith would be ashamed of what you've become." That last one made me throw my phone across the room. I spent the night at my friend Kevin's place. We'd known each other since high school. He was one of the few people who understood my family dynamics. His wife, Amy, made up their guest room and brought me ice for my jaw. "Man, I'm sorry," Kevin said, handing me a beer. "But honestly, this has been coming for years." "What do you mean?" "Remember junior year? When Felix borrowed your college fund money for that studio time? Said he was going to be a rapper." I'd forgotten about that. $5,000. Gone. Mom had told me to let it go, that Felix needed to find himself. "Or when he totaled your first car." Amy added, "The one you saved 2 years to buy. And your parents made you let him use your insurance claim to buy his own car." Each memory was a small cut I'd learned to ignore. But together, they painted a picture I'd been refusing to see. I'd been conditioned to sacrifice myself for Felix my entire life. Kevin leaned forward. "You know what you need to do, right?" "What?" "Get a restraining order. Change your number. Protect yourself, because they're not going to stop." I spent the weekend writing a letter I knew I'd never send. But I needed to get the words out, needed to organize the chaos in my head into something coherent. "Dear Mom and Dad, I've been trying to figure out when I became invisible to you. Was it when Felix was born and suddenly your attention had a black hole to fall into? Was it when I stopped being cute and became just competent? Was it when I made the mistake of being easy, of not demanding the resources and energy and constant intervention that he required? I think about the science fair in 8th grade. I won first place for the district. You didn't come because Felix had a basketball game. He didn't even play. He sat on the bench for 48 minutes while you cheered for other people's kids. I think about my college graduation. You left early because Felix called from jail, another DUI, another crisis only you could solve. I got my diploma in front of empty seats. I think about every birthday where my gift was an afterthought, every Christmas where the present count was lopsided, every family photo where I was positioned at the edge like I might be cropped out later. For 28 years, I believed the problem was me. If I was smarter, more accomplished, more interesting, maybe you'd finally see me. But Grandma's letter taught me something crucial. You did see me. You just decided I wasn't worth seeing. You saw a son who didn't require much, so you gave me less. You saw a son who could survive neglect, so you neglected him. You saw a son who would sacrifice himself, so you built an altar and laid me on it over and over. And I let you. I stopped writing, my hand cramping. The letter was 5 pages long and growing. I folded it carefully and put it in my desk drawer, next to Grandma's pearl necklace, the one I'd rescued from the pawn shop, the one I'd kept as evidence I'd never needed to use. Until now. The restraining order hearing was scheduled for Thursday morning. I showed up in my best suit, prepared with documentation, photos of my bruised jaw, security footage from my workplace, police reports, screenshots of threatening texts Felix had sent after the assault. I didn't expect my entire family to show up. But there they were, Mom, Dad, Aunt Cheryl, Uncle Warren, even my cousin Colette who I hadn't seen in 5 years. All sitting on the defendant's side, a wall of family solidarity against me. Felix sat with a lawyer they'd hired, probably costing them thousands they didn't have. He wore a suit I'd never seen, hair freshly cut, looking like a young professional instead of the man who'd punched me in front of my colleagues. When my name was called, I walked to the front with my lawyer, Mrs. Elias, a sharp woman in her 40s who'd handled the case pro bono after hearing my story. Felix's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, this is a family dispute being blown out of proportion by an individual seeking attention and revenge. My client admits he lost his temper, but it was a momentary lapse in judgment during an emotional conversation about their recently deceased grandmother." Mrs. Elias countered, "The assault occurred at the petitioner's workplace, in front of multiple witnesses, and was preceded by weeks of harassment and threatening messages. This isn't a family dispute, it's a pattern of escalating violence." Judge Owen, a black woman in her 60s, reviewed the documents with an expression that gave nothing away. Then she looked at Felix. "Mr. Nguyen, do you have anything to say?" Felix stood, and I watched him transform. Shoulders slumped, voice breaking with emotion. "Your Honor, Matthew is my little brother. I love him. Our grandmother just passed, and we're all grieving. I said some things I regret, did something I regret, but I would never truly hurt him. This restraining order would destroy our family." It was a masterful performance. I saw Aunt Cheryl dabbing her eyes. Then Judge Owen turned to me. "Mr. Nguyen, Matthew, do you have anything to add?" I stood, my legs shaking. Public speaking had never been my strength. But Mrs. Elias had coached me. "Tell the truth. Just the truth." "Your Honor, my brother said this restraining order would destroy our family. But what he doesn't understand is that there's no family left to destroy." My voice steadied as I continued. "For my entire life, I've been the afterthought. The easy child. The one who didn't require attention or resources or intervention. And because I didn't demand those things, I didn't receive them." I pulled out the folder Mrs. Elias had helped me prepare. 3 weeks ago, my grandmother passed away and left me an inheritance. Not my brother, me. She did this because she saw something my parents never did, that I'd built a life through my own effort, that I'd never asked for handouts, that I had character worth rewarding. Mom shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Within days of her death, my parents demanded I give that inheritance to my brother for his 5th failed business venture. When I refused, they gave me an ultimatum: give him the money or be cut off from the family forever. I chose myself. That's when the harassment started. I showed the judge printed texts. "You're dead to me. Watch your back. You'll regret this." Then he showed up at my workplace and assaulted me. "Your Honor, I don't need protection from a momentary lapse in judgment. I need protection from a pattern of entitlement, manipulation, and violence that my family has enabled for 32 years. The courtroom was silent. Judge Owen studied me for a long moment. "Anything else?" "Yes, Your Honor." I pulled out one more document. This is a pawn shop receipt from last year. My brother stole our grandmother's pearl necklace, an heirloom from 1965, and sold it for $800. I paid $900 to get it back before she knew it was missing. I never told my parents because I knew they'd make excuses for him. They always do. I looked directly at my mother. That's what this family does. We sacrifice truth, dignity, and justice at the altar of protecting him. I'm done being the sacrifice. Judge Owen granted the restraining order. 6 months, no contact, minimum 500 feet distance. As she explained the terms, I watched my family's faces cycle through disbelief, anger, and finally, from my mother, something that might have been recognition. Outside the courthouse, Dad caught up with me, careful to maintain the legal distance. "Matthew, son, please, can we talk about this?" We just did. In front of a judge. "This isn't who we are. This isn't how we raised you." The words unlocked something in me, not anger, but clarity. "You're right. You didn't raise me to stand up for myself. You raised me to be small, to be convenient, to smooth over problems I didn't create. But Grandma raised me too. And she raised me to know my worth." Mom approached, Mascara streaked from crying. Matthew, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Yes, you did. My voice was gentle but firm. You've always known. You just chose him anyway. Every single time. What do you want from us? She asked, and for the first time in my life, she sounded genuinely lost. Nothing. That's the point. I don't need anything from you anymore. I walked away from the courthouse, from my family, from the first 28 years of my life. Mrs. Elias caught up with me. You did good in there, Matthew. Really good. Thank you for taking my case. Can I give you some advice? She smiled. Don't let this make you bitter. You've got a whole life ahead of you. Build something beautiful with it. 3 months later, I used part of Grandma's inheritance for a down payment on a house in Ferndale, a small place with a porch that reminded me of hers. I enrolled in a master's program for business administration. I started dating a woman named Heather who worked in my building, someone who thought my reliability was attractive instead of boring. One evening, sitting on that porch with a glass of wine, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Barbara. I had the baby. A girl. Named her Edith. Thought you should know your grandmother's legacy lives on. I smiled, raising my glass to the sunset. For being extraordinary at being you, I whispered, repeating Grandma's words from all those years ago. Behind me, my house glowed warm with light. My house. My life. My choice. And for the first time in 28 years, I felt extraordinary. Hit that subscribe button. Only toxic enablers won't subscribe. Comment I choose myself if you're not siding with manipulative families who demand sacrifice without love. If you can't stand people like Felix who weaponize family loyalty, drop everyone deserves respect in the comments. Liars and manipulators won't engage. Will you?